truth is this was also an international target. It was an international airport. They knew they could get Westerners there. We know at the beginning of May that ISIS called for, during the month of Ramadan, attacks on Western civilians particularly. It may be that they can't get to the West so easily in the way that they were through those routes they were using into Greece, and so instead the next best thing is to try and attack Westerners coming into the region in somewhere like
Turkey.
Turkey.
Not necessarily an attack on Turkey.
I think in many ways it will be, but they won't take responsibility for it. They so far have carried out about 7 attacks in Turkey since January 2015, but they don't take responsibility for them, unlike the Kurdish groups, which is why we believe it probably is ISIS. But I think specifically, yes, this is an attack on internationals and particularly on Western civilians who we know they prize them very high as a target for them.
But there is this process at the moment where Turkey is trying to block off those channels to Syria, the physical channels, a lot of the fighters moving through Turkey, also resources moving through Turkey. So could it be a response to that?
I think so. I mean, they obviously are not aligned with the Turkish government. They see the Turkish government, by their standards, as not being Islamic. Turkey clearly is problematic for them. I mean, Turkey is aligned with the West and with NATO. But at the same time, as you mentioned, between 2011 and 2014, that Turkish border was ISIS's primary means of getting people to their front lines, of smuggling oil as well. And the fact that Turkey has really been clamping down on that is, putting a stranglehold on ISIS, and so they will be lashing out at the Turkish as well as at Westerners more generally.
And the context to this is that ISIS is losing ground, isn't it? Back on home turf, as it were. They're losing control of the areas that they did have control of. And yet these attacks are becoming more high profile all the time. They're linked, presumably, in the messaging that ISIS is saying, we are still strong, we are still a presence.
I think we always suspected that as ISIS came under pressure in its, the main region that it's fighting within, what it would essentially try and do is try and shift the focus to carrying out attacks elsewhere.